mechanism of hormonal action. So in this mechanism of hormonal action, first of all, one example hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. This hormone is secreted by the pituitary gland. This pituitary gland present in the brain region. The brain region presence of pituitary gland. This pituitary gland releasing the hormone ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. These hormone work in the kidney. Kidney, the cortex region only their work. Means they are enters into the blood. The blood supply to the all the body parts. But the reaction only in kidney cortex region only because of every hormone the presence of specific receptors. The hormone work only target places only. Hormone work only target places because of every hormone presence of specific receptors. Each hormone contain specific receptors. Each hormone contains specific receptors. So this work only target places. The work only target places because of that particular place the presence of the receptors. The receptors place only their work. So the hormones are target places only work because of the presence of receptors. So hormone receptors are two types. 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 One is the membrane bound receptor. Membrane bound receptor. Membrane bound receptor. Second one is the intracellular receptor. Intracellular receptor. Membrane bound receptor and intracellular receptor. Membrane bound receptor and intracellular receptor. First one is the membrane bound receptor. Membrane bound receptor means, just example, these are the one cell, they are the plasma membrane. The receptor present in the surface of the plasma membrane. The membrane only the presence of receptor. So they are called as membrane bound receptor. Another one receptor, the receptor present in the inside the cell, that is called as intracellular receptor. One is the membrane bound receptor. First one is the membrane bound receptor. Membrane bound receptor. Membrane bound receptor means the receptor presence of the plasma membrane. The receptor present on plasma membrane, surface of the plasma membrane. Present on plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. So they are called as membrane bound receptor. Membrane bound receptor means the receptor present in the cell, plasma membrane. Surface of the plasma membrane only presence of receptor, that is called as membrane bound receptor. Next one is the intracellular. These are the water soluble. This type of receptor hormones are the water soluble hormones. Membrane bound receptor, all the hormones are the water soluble hormones. Next, second one is the intracellular receptors. Intracellular receptors. So intracellular receptors means the receptors present inside the cell. The receptors present inside the cell. The receptors present inside the cell. So they are inside the cell, the presence of the receptor. So they are called as intracellular receptor. Intracellular receptor means the receptors present inside the cell. That is called intracellular receptors. Intracellular receptor mostly nuclear receptors. These are mostly nuclear receptor. Mostly nuclear receptors. Mostly they are nuclear receptors, means these receptors maximum they present in inside the nucleus, so they are called as mostly nuclear receptors. Next one, the membrane bound receptors generate the second messengers. Membrane bound receptors generate second messengers. Second messengers generate the second messengers. So the membrane bound receptors generate the second messengers. So membrane bound receptors only generate the second messengers because of these receptors present in the surface of the cell only. Means these are the do not entry of the inside the cell. So these are generate the second message. This second message enters into the cell. So only membrane bound receptors generate the second messengers. That's generate the second messengers because of the receptors present in the plasma membrane only. So these are the generate the second messenger. These messenger enters into the inside the cell. So that's the reason they generate the second messengers. So in the second messengers example, cyclic AMP, IP3, IP3, IP3 and calcium ions. So they are the second messenger. Cyclic AMP, IP3, calcium ions. So they are the second messengers. Next one, this one, intracellular receptors. So intracellular receptors, they are the hormone and receptor. Intracellular receptors are the hormone and receptor. These two combine to form the hormone receptor complex. Hormone receptor complex. Hormone receptor complex. So the intracellular receptors, the hormone bind with the receptors. These two combine to form the hormone receptor complex. So these are the receptors. Next one example, membrane bound receptor. Membrane bound receptor. These are the one membrane like plasma membrane. These are the membrane. This membrane, the presence of this one is called as receptor. These are called as receptor. Receptor. These are the membrane. So they are called as membrane bound receptor. This receptor is called as membrane bound receptor. Membrane bound receptor because of the presence of the plasma membrane. So they are called as membrane bound receptor. For example, one hormone. So they are the one hormone. That the one hormone. The hormone is a FSH. Hormone name is a FSH hormone. FSH hormone. These hormone, these are attached to receptor. Hormone FSH attached to receptor. So the first one, that the hormone FSH hormone, these hormone attached to the membrane bound receptor. So in this one, the response one, in this one generate the second messenger, response one. So in this one generate the second messenger. Generate second messenger. Like cyclic AMP or calcium ions generate the second messenger. First of all, they are the hormone FSH. These are binding to the receptor. These receptors generate the second messenger. That is the cyclic AMP or calcium ions. These second messengers enters into the cell. So they are the biochemical responses, biochemical changes. Biochemical response. Biochemical response or biochemical changes. In this biochemical changes after physiological changes. Physiological response, physiological changes. So after physiological changes, the tissue is growth. Tissue growth. Example, ovarian growth. Ovarian growth. So these are the one hormone. The hormone is the FSH. These FSH hormone attached to the membrane bound receptor. This membrane bound receptor generates the second messenger. The second messenger is either cyclic AMP or calcium ions. Then next one they enters into the cell. Then the biochemical response. After biochemical response, physiological response. After physiological response, they are the tissue growth. So they are the example growth of the ovarian growth. Ovarian follicles are growth. So these are the one is the membrane bound receptor. Another one is the intracellular receptor. Intracellular receptor. So these are the one membrane. There are one nucleus. Inside the nucleus, the presence of the receptor. These are the nucleus. These are the receptor. Next one, the inside the presence of the genetic material, that is called as DNA. Genome. These are the DNA. So they are the one normal cell. So hormone. One hormone name is the estrogen. So these are the lipid soluble hormone. Estrogen is the lipid soluble hormone because of their enters into the inside the cell. So they are the lipid soluble hormone. These hormone enters into the cell. Hormone enters into the cell. After cell 2, they enters into the nucleus. They reaching the receptor. After enters into the receptor, they are binding to the receptor. Now the presence of the hormone is present, receptor is present. So the formation of hormone receptor complex. Hormone receptor complex. So the formation of the hormone receptor complex. This hormone receptor complex attached to the DNA. So this DNA, the production of the mRNA. DNA produce the mRNA. mRNA means messenger RNA. So in this messenger RNA, the production of the proteins. These proteins, physiological response. After growth of the tissue. So these are the one is the intracellular receptor. First one hormone. The hormone enters into the cell. Cell to the nucleus. The nucleus they attach into the receptor. Then formation of the hormone receptor complex. This hormone receptor complex attaches to the DNA production of the mRNA. In this mRNA produce the proteins. These proteins, they are physiological changes of the cell. So after physiological changes, growth of the tissue. So they are the one hormone. They are the lipid soluble hormone. These are the water soluble hormone. So totally mechanism of hormonal action.